That dramatic intro means it's the start of First Pitch. It is a lovely Saturday here. I've got the A-team here, Dave Koken, Tony Finn, Steve Merrill, all from WagerTalk.com. I'm Mid-Major Matt from SportsMemo.com. Fellas, looking forward to getting into it. As always, let's start out with the recaps. And Dave, you are firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, the last 2 months have been dreamy, except for the fact that I'm, basically stuck inside with what's going on. But maybe it's helped the handicapping. It's been really good. 4-0 yesterday. The only bad result was a rainout on the Twins. 2 underdogs. I had the Canadians and the Flames in the NHL. I had an early KBO winner. And then the baseball, the Diamondbacks come through with some late inning magic and great pitching, by the way. A very quick note, because I'm going to blog about on Monday. My video blog on Monday will be about this. But the pitcher for Kelly, for Arizona, you would think you're looking at Zach Greinke out there. Any pitch in any count. I'm not saying he's got Greinke type stuff, but there is no question that Zach Greinke's had a tremendous influence on him. And he's an improved pitcher. Anyway, the Padres and Diamondbacks, nice price in the Diamondbacks. Padres were getting hammered all day by the bettors, and that turned out to be a real nice winner. So it was good. I think it's 17-6 right now in the MLB best bets. The NHL's 12-6-1. I will have a couple of NHL plays. I will have one baseball play. Those will be put up after this show. Matt, you've been cooking right along, and another winning day for you yesterday as well.
Yeah, 2-1 last night, 25-17 overall. Got bit a little by the starting pitchers. I had a play involved with the DeGrom game. Of course, that didn't go off. And then I had a play. My loss was I figured Luzardo was going to be good as a replacement. I could not believe how poorly he pitched against San Francisco, so that was the only loss. I had the under in the Rockies game, the first 5 under. Lance Lynn was a beast. And the Castellani kid, I think that's something to keep an eye on because he looked really good. I don't know how much it was the Texas lineup or he was just looking good. So 25-17. I got one play up. I'll probably have a couple of others in the all-access package. Tony, how was your day yesterday?
It was a no-play day. I had 3 plays. I really liked the card. 3 plays. 2 of them ended up being no plays. We talked about it in the show yesterday, the under at Wrigley. I liked that under, and I looked at the score about the 7th inning and thought, hey, I got a really good chance on this. And I looked at the box score and saw the pitching change. I was pretty busy yesterday, didn't see it. And I had another no play in your game that you just spoke of, Matt. That's the no play, Oakland's pitching change. So am I one good to go? Dave jinxed me on that because he's on the other side. He won, I lost. So it was on. We could love to have a show talk about Kelly because what Dave just mentioned, you just never know. But I just said yesterday, remember Dave? I said this kid's due from some regression, 1,000% strand rate, and if he's stole Greinke's soul, then you better watch out.
Well, what I was saying just briefly is that I think he learned a lot.
Yeah.
And that's young pitchers. Merrill Kelly's not that young, but he was still somewhat inexperienced. If they latch on to a veteran who really knows what he's doing, they can learn a lot of information. And Kelly's stuff is never going to be great. But when you can throw 4 or 5, literally 6 different pitches when you consider changing speeds and throw them where you want, you don't have to be breaking any velocity records to be effective.
If you have a fathom of Greinke's intelligence and smarts and listen, dynamite stuff too when he was younger, crazy stuff, then you bet you're a fortunate man.
Well, he's the most cerebral pitcher in the game right now, and Steve Merrill is the most cerebral handicapper in the game. How's that?
Yes.
How's that for? I am the prince of segues.
Well, Steve was here.
Well, you said Merrill Kelly, then I was thinking he's got 5.5 more pitches than I've got right now. So
yeah, but you do have a name in common at least.
He spells it with 2 L's though, so he almost got it right. I'll tell you what though, it's always 2 L's. I'm the only time it's 1 L. It is my real name. It's not a stage name. But the good thing is I got Twitter and I got my Gmail address like 10 years after they came out because they're still available. Tony Finn, I like the baseball jersey, my man. Yeah. I was trying to see what it was. It's Mets, huh?
Yeah, it is. This is Dave's favorite team.
No, I have no problem with the Mets. It's the Yankees that I
was going to say, I know who his least favorite team is.
It's his favorite team in Queens. Let's just put it that way.
Well, it's funny, guys. I had two big run line blowout winners last night, but the Yankees was not one of them. I didn't use that game. We talked about it on the show, but I had the Indians 10-5 and I had the Astros 11-1. So it was a nice day. Yeah, nice 2-0 sweep. I turned on the Indians game. It's 3-3. I literally looked up 10 seconds later, and it was 7-3. And that's just kind of how the evening went. It was a nice evening. 9-2 run this week, guys, on baseball and basketball. Nice. 82% of Wager Talk, and I'm still behind units on both Dave and Matt overall. Even going 9-2, they're still up on the units on me. So we're all doing well. It's good to see.
Over 160 people in the room. Thanks to everybody, the director, Terry, the common man. Please make sure to give us your questions and your comments, and we will try and get to them as we will do throughout the show. We'll go over the baseball card. We'll start out with our big three games. We'll start out with the guy who might be playing tonight for the Mets. Mets at the Phillies. Aaron Nola's looked like an ace the last two games, and Steven Matz has not looked like an ace so far. Tony, you've got the jersey. We'll start with you, Mets and Phillies tonight.
I wish we had more time on the show to talk about Matz, and I'm going to make this as brief as I can, but there's a connection in this game, and the connection is Harper to the Nationals. And despite the fact that Harper left on terms that maybe weren't kosher with the front office because of his demands, he still has strong contacts in that dub. Now, if you look at Matz's last start, you're going to see a guy that's not a dumb pitcher. Matz isn't a dumb guy. He's never going to be an all-star, or a Hall of Famer, but this is a guy that has capable. His high 90s stuff. He's a guy that has a WAR. He had a WAR of 3 when he pitched for the Mets in the 15-16 area when they were pretty good with the World Series, lost to the Royals in 16. And here's the deal. I have information that it's possible that Matz is tipping his pitches. You don't get hit with 11. How many runs did he give up in the last time he went 3 innings? I don't know what it was, 11 runs or whatever.
13 runs and 15 hits in his last 7 and a third.
A guy like that with that talent, something's wrong. So here's the deal with that. I don't have a play on this game, and I'm not the only one that's heard about the tipping pitches thing. They think he's tipping his pitches. Then if Harper contacts the Nationals and says, "Hey guys, share with me what happened," and that transfers the Phillies. It's gonna be fun to watch or interesting to watch, but I'm not on the game.
Dave, Nola looks like the ace the last 2 starts. Have you seen anything different from him?
No, he's Nola. He's one of the better pitchers in baseball, and you gotta like the guy. The one thing that the number's too high here, though. It's just too high.
Yes.
So this is one of the where I immediately started looking at the Mets, because I priced this game 592 131. So this is something where it's like, wow, that's value on the Mets. Well, there's 2 reasons I'm not taking the Mets. Mm-hmm. One is that even though I like value, I need more than I've still got the Phillies winning the game, and the lines have to be. It has to be a lot juicier for me to go ahead and take a dog. So even though I've got this line like 30 cents too high, I've still got the Phillies winning the game. The other thing is Matz. I still have memories of this game from last season where Matz just got obliterated in this ballpark. Home run, home run, home run, home run. And he's just not a guy I trust. I have a tendency to avoid Steven Matz games because I can never get a real good handle on him. So that's kind of where I am here. I think the value play here is the Mets, but I just don't see it being on my card. I'm not locking it out yet. I'm going to go look at the game some more after the show starts, or after the show is done, I should say. But I don't see myself playing the game.
Yeah, Steve, to that point, Matt's had a 7.48 ERA against the Phillies in 6 starts last year. How much do you use last year, and what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, first of all, if he is tipping pitches, buyer beware. But, I mean, it's even more of a reason to look at the first 5 if you like the Phillies here. They're minus 160 in the game. They're only minus 165 first 5 innings, and they have statistically the worst bullpen in baseball right now, a 9.1 ERA. So if you like the Phillies, and I don't necessarily like them here, the first 5 would be the way to play it. If I had to play this game, though, guys, I'm looking at the over. Tony, I love the information. And by the way, in the NBA show yesterday, we talked about how we dig through local papers and how Tony particularly has a lot of connections. So he's not just throwing smoke here. Tony does his research. He has connections. If he's hearing that he's tipping pitches, that concerns me. But the Mets are hitting the ball well. So the over could be worth a look here. I think the safest way to play this game would be the over 9. If you'd like the first 5 inning over especially, you're going to get that one, about half price there. So either the first 5 over or the game over, I think works here.
Yeah, the Phillies bullpen yesterday got like 13 or 14 straight outs. That had to be a record because they're a terrible unit as a whole. Quite the opposite in this next game that we're going to be talking about. Indians at the Tigers. Indians a healthy favorite in this one, over under 7.5. I'll say this right off the top. I was looking at the first 5 under, but I see 3.5s out there, and that worries me about a half a run. If there are any 4s, I'd snap it up. Dave, what do you think about this Bieber and Turnbull matchup?
Well, I'm not. Shane Bieber he looks absolutely sensational. Be interesting to see if Turnbull has a good game here. I like the way he's pitching, and the Indians don't hit a whole lot. This kind of got into the no play category for me quickly because the Indians there's no chance I'm going against Bieber, and I know there's some regression coming for the Tigers because they're just not going to continue to do what they've done so far. But until I really see that regression, and maybe it's starting to take place now. That's an awful steep price to lay against them. What my number on this game? It is higher than the line. It's like 220. So I can't argue against the Indians. And if you want to make it a -1 play, or go the runs line at -110, I can't argue with that either. I don't play a lot of runs lines. I'm more apt to do it with a road team because at least I get my 9 at bats with a road team. But that's about what I'd look at here. Turnbull, not yet a guy I want to lay a big number against. That might change.
30% whiff rate on his fastball. His spin rate is up on all of his pitches. Tony, 2 really good pitchers potentially in this one.
Yeah, a guy, no one lost more games last year than Turnbull. Now we're giving some accolades to him, and that's what happens in Major League Baseball. If you listen and you learn as a pitcher and grow, some do, some don't. Let's see about Turnbull. In this game, Laz Diaz is behind the plate. Very pitcher-friendly Laz is, especially has been during this pandemic. And the Indians, Tigers, I kind of like the under in this game.
Even the 7.5?
Even 7.5. Yeah. There's a reason why 7.5, guys, in an American League game. And it doesn't offer a lot of value, but I like the under.
Steve, we've talked about
this. It doesn't. 7.5 and a 3.5 total. Well, that's really low. I mean, it should be 4.
Exactly. And Steve, that key half run here, I know, I was talking to somebody about it and they're like, well, if you like it at 4, you should like it at 3.5, but you at least get the push at 4. What's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, 7.5 is a low total, but be honest, 7 is the real key number here. So 7.5, 8.5 is not a huge difference. So the 7.5 looks low, but we would like it at 8.5. We'd like it at 8. So 7.5 shouldn't necessarily scare you off, but 7's a different story. Both 7 and 9, extremely key numbers, baseball totals, as we know. By the way, the run line Dave touched on here, it is a low-scoring game, which makes that run line interesting. Normally, it's harder to cash there, but the odds makers are giving you some value with it because the money line's 175, the run line is -105. That's a 70% difference for the road team. Normally, you see that with the home teams, so they're definitely pricing that difference in. But the Indians still, 6 of their 7 wins in the month of August have been by 2 runs or more, including that 10-5 winner last night, which I had a best bet on, as I mentioned. So Cleveland is in better form.
All right, let's move on to our third game that we're going to be focusing in on. It is the Brewers and the Cubs out at Wrigley Field. Hauser and Colin Ray making his first start since July 30th, 2016. He's made 2 appearances out of the bullpen. Steve, we'll back to you on this one to start.
Yeah, of course, the first thing we always do is check the weather. And this yesterday we mentioned on the show the total was around 8. The wind was blowing in, obviously. And I believe they had a pitching change from Milwaukee yesterday, so I didn't have anything in that game. But I saw that actually it was Chicago, I think, that had the pitching change.
Yeah, Chatwood left.
Yeah, because Woodruff still win, right, guys? So
yes.
Yeah, so he got the 4-3 win, and he was about $1.15 favorite when we did the show. He went off as $1.30 favorite when they pulled Chatwood and put Mills in. We'll see. That snapped the Cubs' 3-game win streak, but this is still a team that had gone 8-1 before that. They're still 8-2 their last 10. I think it could be a decent bounce back spot for him today.
Tony, what do you think? Adrian Hauser, he's a guy who used to throw a lot more strikeouts. Now it seems like he's getting a lot more grounders with that sinker ball.
Is that focused on such too? And is throwing that – listen, he's throwing his velocity's down a couple miles an hour, and for good reason. If he's going to focus on a rotation that's going to be a sinker pitch and he's trying to induce more ground balls in the era of a juice ball, very smart. I don't have a play on this game, but I've been watching Hauser, and I'll continue to watch him. I'm interested in him.
Dave?
Well, I want to watch Colin Ray, who returns to the mainland after pitching elsewhere for a few seasons. And the first thing I noticed, now this is very small sample, But the first thing I notice is his velocity's up about 2 miles an hour from where it was back in 2016. So maybe he picked up something. That remains to be seen. He's kind of an unknown commodity to me based on that. So I want to see what he does. I remember him from when he pitched here previously, and he wasn't very good. He was the Padres, and I basically have watched almost every Padres game there's been over the past several years. I will probably watch more Padres baseball than anybody else. Part of that is I like the broadcast team. But he was a guy who wasn't absolutely horrible here. That's the interesting thing. I mean, his numbers weren't the worst in the world. And maybe he'll be better now. I don't know. So I can't really say anything about him. I do like Hauser. He did not have good location in his last start and still managed to get through. It wasn't great, but here he's facing a really dangerous lineup. I think the pitching matchup still, I would probably lean to the Brewers, but the rest of it, as far as the offenses go, big edge to the Cubs. And then, of course, the bullpen, that would favor Milwaukee. It becomes a really tough game where you've got check marks all over the place and question marks as well.
All right, so that's our big three for today. Let's tell everybody about what you can find. Dave's on a 4-0 sweep yesterday, 17-6 MLB best bets, 12-6-1 in the NHL. Good chance to buy his all access package because, Dave touches on a bunch of sports. What do you got today, or what are you going to have today?
I haven't put anything up yet, so if you go to my page right now, you'll find nothing except me, and you don't want to look at that. So wait a while. I will be putting up a baseball game after this show is done. And I will have a couple of hockey plays as well. I'm not going to have a big card. Well, I never have a big card, but today it's going to be an even shorter card than usual. You can't force stuff, and the nice thing is we're playing with the house money right now, a lot of it. So there's no sense just firing at will and giving money back. I'll go with what I think are the strongest plays.
So you can go to Tony's page on wagertalk.com. Tony, will you have also, besides baseball, anything on the big Blazers-Grizzlies game tonight?
I do have a prop in that game. I have a position. I'm taking a position in that game as well. So 3 baseballs and 1 on that playing game at the Disney campus.
And then Steve Merrill, also NBA expert. You can watch his show Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock on this YouTube channel. Steve, baseball and basketball tonight for you?
Yeah, 70% restart in the NBA. I passed yesterday on the final day of the regular season. Had that 2-0 baseball sweep, but I do have basketball and baseball, as Tony mentioned. Basketball and baseball for Saturday right now, wagertalk.com. 9-2, 82% this week, all sports combined.
Do any of us do MMA? I do not. I like it. I like watching it, but I don't handicap it. Because there's a great fight tonight.
Yeah.
So I'll just suggest Johnny's been amazing. Johnny the Greek Ace has been absolutely amazing in MMA, and I'm blanking on his name.
Well, I was going to say
the Greek. Oh, the play.
No,
Kyle.
One of our Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle, because Andy Lang.
He's been absolutely incredible in MMA.
Yeah, I know Andy Lang.
Kyle Anthony.
Yeah,
Kyle Anthony.
Andy Lang actually gets his picks every week, and Andy, of course, has the live show tonight, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Wager Talk TV. And I said 6 yesterday during the NBA show, so if you tune in 6, there'll be 2 hours of silence. Andy's coming on live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, because it is a pay-per-view main event, UFC 252. But he's been giving out in-fight bets each and every week in that, and it's just been great money makers.
Wow. Nice.
And I think he's trying to get the Greek or Kyle on one of those shows. He just goes for 5 hours straight. But that'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight on Saturday, UFC Live right here on this channel.
And then I've got one baseball bet up, and that apparently we have a promo code for, WTV60. The powers that be gave me a promo code. I may have a couple of other plays for my all-access subscribers on sportsmemo.com. So basically, check that out. All right, we've got a lot of games to get into. There are 2 doubleheaders for the people who are not familiar with us. There's not going to be a ton of talk here, but I do want to touch on this first doubleheader. The Cardinals finally playing a game. They're going to take on the White Sox. The 2 things I was looking at here are White Sox first 5, or the first 5 under because of rustiness. Dave, what do you think about what are you expecting from this Cardinals team today?
I have no idea. I literally have no idea because we've never had a situation like this. I think the last time a team missed this much time, somebody said something about like in World War II or something. So I mean, I don't know trivia. So I haven't the slightest idea. The team hasn't played in weeks. I'm not even gonna. I'm trying to think of something to say. I mean, that's how blank my mind is on this game. I need to see something before I can make a comment on it, and we've never seen anything like this. So I don't know whether they're itching to swing the bats, whether they won't be able to. Who knows? Next.
Tony, if you were to have anybody on the mound, a veteran like Adam Wainwright in this situation would be somebody to think of, right?
Except for any chance I get to fade Adam Wainwright, I do it. At this point in time in his career, typically because of he doesn't carry much public price anymore. But in this situation, I would lean to Giolito. But I'm with Dave. I don't know what to expect either. So I would say, listen, I get Giolito with a rusty team. I'll take him, but I didn't. I'll pass to him.
Steve, anything to add on this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a quick hit. I'll keep it quick. I am not using either of these games. And as these guys have said, there's a lot of uncertainty. I will point out that Florida, the Miami Marlins played okay after their layoff, but there was nothing like this one.
No, not like this. No.
My gut instinct, guys, would be that their offense is a little cold, but it'll be interesting to see.
I just don't know. What I hope is that nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Because they haven't played. Now they got to play. They haven't played at all in 3 weeks. Now they got to play 2 games. That's the recipe for an injury.
And by the way, we don't know. We know some of the guys who were sick. We don't know all of them. So when the lineup comes out, it'll be like, oh, well, so-and-so's not in there. Dylan Carlson did get the call up. He's the heralded prospect. So it'll be interesting to see. The other doubleheader, Royals and Twins. We do know Odorizzi and Kennedy game 1. Duffy and Berrios. Quickly, either one-word answers. Does anybody have anything, Tony?
I will just say that I've always been a little sketchy and leery of Odorizzi. I think he's outpitched his peripherals last year, so he's got a lot of support offensively, and Kennedy, a fly ball pitcher. This is going to be an opener, so if I'm leaning here, you got to lean Odorizzi in the Minnesota Twins, especially after the Royals swept them last week. I think it was.
I had the Twins -1. That was the rain out yesterday. I have a rule. I do not play rescheduled rainout games, and you can call it superstition or whatever, but I used to do it, and it's like, well, the same pitchers are going, so I'll make the same play. And my record when that happened was just god awful. So I just started scratching these games off years ago. It's like, oh, they're doing a makeup of a rainout. I'm out.
Steve, anything?
I'm not using these games, but what I would not do is not play Minnesota -185 in either one. If you're going to play the game, play the Royals straight up. They've won 5 of their last 6 outright as an underdog, or play the 1.5 minus run line. Twins, as we keep saying, like the Yankees and Dodgers, big explosive offenses cover the run line. 6 of their 7 wins in the month of August have been by 2 runs or more for Minnesota.
Pirates, Reds.
But bear in mind, 7 innings makes
that's a good point, though. Very good point.
Pirates, Reds were postponed today and tomorrow already. Unfortunately, a Reds player tested positive for COVID, so that's something to watch going forward. We'll see if they play on Monday. Time to talk Cy Young here. Braves and Max Fried against Daniel Castano. The number 1 fan of Fried. We'll go to you, Tony.
I have a position in this game. I like this game. I like Fried. I don't like Atlanta against left-handed hitting right now. Look at the numbers; they speak for themselves. Albeit the young season, so I definitely lean to the south side of the odds makers number in this game.
Dave?
I would echo what Tony said. The Braves aren't hitting southpaws. They're obviously missing a couple of guys as well. Yeah. And Fried, when Tony said this, I don't know, 10 days ago, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He is the best lefty in baseball right now. He just is. Look at his numbers.
I think it also says something about the left-handers in baseball. There's not a ton of them right
now. But the thing of it is, he gets no attention.
No.
And he was absolutely great last year. And he started off much the same way this season.
Steve, close us down on this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you told us both teams would have a winning record, we'd have one at 11-10 and one at 9-4. You'd be like, well, the Marlins are off to a decent 11-10 start. Good for them. But I mean, he had 9-4. We talked about it yesterday. You know, if it comes down to win percentage, they've missed a lot of games, but they're still winning right now. They're the team in better current form, but I'm not going to be involved in this one.
Nearly 300 people in the room as we keep going with our quick hits here. Rays and Jays with a Coors Field like 11 total. Yarbrough and Anderson. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, the Buffalo Blue Jays, right? And we talked about other than Coors Field yesterday, it was the highest total on the board at 10.5, and now they've given us an 11. I saw it open as high as 11.5. Dave, what do you think? Is it a hitter's park? We kind of touched on it.
It kind of looks that way. Yeah. I mean, some of the pitching hasn't been great, but the ball, there was some talk from some people I know in the Buffalo area that are familiar with the park. They said that, the ball, when it's hot in the summertime, not in the winter. When Buffalo plays their early season AAA games, the ball just dies there in that cold weather. But once it warms up, this ballpark, the baseball can travel. Kind of looks like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, Chase Anderson only went 45 pitches last time out. They expect 60 to 75. Yarbrough going for the Rays. Tony, thoughts on this one to close us out?
Well, I would lean to Yarbrough. Seriously, I would. I've done my study on that venue, on that stadium, and the dimensions compare to Toronto's dimensions. In fact, it would rate as a middle of the road major league park if you were. But if I'm only comparing to international, to the IL, but it doesn't come close to being something like the PCL. So interesting that this total is that high. If I was going to jump in, I'd jump in under, of course, because I'm hard to sell, and I'm still not sold on it being a hitter's park.
Yeah, yesterday was a slow start. I was looking at the first half, 5 under 6 here because it was a slow start. Yesterday, they beat up on the bullpens in that game, so it gave you the misleading numbers. I think it was like 3-2 after the 5th inning, so that's where I would look for this one. Nats and Orioles throw out the records when these two go after each other. Corbin and Wojciechowski. We'll start with you, Dave.
My number on the game is pretty big. So if you want to go favorite here, I can't argue with it. 211, see 40, 32. I'm doing the math in my head. Looks like about 208. So actually, even at this price, a little value on the Nationals. Corbin is in that conversation among the best lefties in baseball as well. He's just a rock solid pitcher. I'm not a big Wojo guy. So I do think the Nationals get this one.
Steve, some decent numbers for Wojo, but can you trust him against this Nats offense?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about yesterday the Orioles have been red hot. We didn't want to get in front of that. They'd won 6 in a row, all as an underdog, but then they lost 15-3. I actually like the Nationals here. I think that was a breakout game for them offensively with the 19 hits last night. And I have this as a free play right now at wagertalk.com. So if you'd like some more analysis, go to my page, wagertalk.com, to get the analysis for the Orioles Nationals for free today on Saturday.
Tony, we don't often get a lot of compliments for the panel, but I had to post this for you. Tony, you look good. You looks like you lost a good amount of weight. Don't mean to be rude. It's a compliment from Periscope.
Could you please continue to send the amphetamines? The address is 4420. Thank you for the compliment.
I just wanted to throw that in there. Mariners and Astros, Margavicius versus Javier. We'll start with you there, Slimmer Tony.
Dan Bellino is the umpire. Now, I want you to double check this because there was a doubleheader yesterday, and sometimes it gets convoluted and the rotation could change. But I have a Dan Bellino behind the plate. He's very hitter friendly. He does his strike to K to ball ratio is not very good. Hasn't been, albeit that this guy is still one of the new breed. I would lean just because of the pitching and Bellino to the over.
Dave, Javier, a little bit of a disappointment last time against Oakland. What were your thoughts?
Well, he gets to face a lot lesser version of an offense here. I mean, the run differential on the Mariners is already getting ridiculous. They're a terrible baseball team. I think you can make a good argument they're the worst team in baseball. I don't want them. Price is going to keep me out of it. And it went up like 40 cents this morning from 190 to about 230. So the bettors hopped on what might have been some actual value at 190 on the Astros, and that's gone now.
Steve, Astros run line in play here?
Yeah, it was last night, of course. So one of the best bets I had was Houston, as I mentioned, an 11-1 easy winner. I'm not using it tonight. I thought the line, as Dave said, got a little pricey, but once again, to be the only way I would play this would be Houston.
A's and Giants. A's with that big win last night. You've got Manania, who's been terrible, and Kevin Gausman, who's pitching like it's 2015 for the Orioles. Back to you, Steve, on this one.
Yeah, we touched on it yesterday. I mentioned how Oakland, we expected to be a good team. They got off to a little bit of a sluggish start, but then they got red hot wins-wise. But what was still interesting, and Tony touched on it well, was the disparity between their batting average and their other all stats. This is a team that's averaging nearly 5 runs a game this season. They're 14-6, yet they're batting just .216 as a team. One of the reasons they get away with it is they're getting clutch hits, and, of course, the bullpen has been great, a 1.9 ERA. But I think Oakland's an interesting team to watch. At some point, I expect that batting average either to come up or for the run production to start dropping.
Dave?
Yeah, Gausman is pitching well, and I don't know why. Is this a blip? Probably, but I mean his last start, that's against the Dodgers. 6 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, and 6 strikeouts without a walk. Start before that, gave up a home run. His overall numbers weren't great, but 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Start before that, no walks, 8 strikeouts. His last 3 starts, 1 walk and 21 strikeouts in 16 innings. Something's going on there. I can't really say what it is. Kind of want to watch him to see if he's figured something out. Gossman's an interesting guy because, tremendous prospect coming up. This is a guy who was, I think, the 4th overall pick when the Orioles chose him years ago, and he looked like he was going to be a superstar. And it just never came around for him. But I can tell you this. He's throwing better than 95 average with the fastball. And he's throwing basically the same arsenal he always has, but he appears to be throwing it better. So a guy who I'd normally be looking to go against, especially at a pretty reasonable price, actually, I'm not so quick to do it. In Manea, something is up there because he is not looking good. Oakland has an awful lot of momentum off the comeback last night, though, so I don't know that I don't think I want the Giants here.
Tony, playing off the momentum from last night?
But Oakland's a team to watch. Steve outlined it. One of the things about Oakland is that nobody draws more walks when they're behind on the count. Only one team in baseball draws more walks than Oakland when they're behind on the count. And this guy, one of the reasons their on base percentage is high and their batting average is low is because they do draw walks. And they're a patient team. A team that used to be station hits more home runs. This Gausman is an interesting, as Dave brings up, 40%, guys, 40%. He switched 40% usage on his splitter. Last game, when he was so good, more than 50% of the balls hit and play were exit velocity of 95 miles an hour or higher. So there was some fortune there. And when you use 40% of your 40% of your pitch to splitter, you better be darn good because that's dangerous, very dangerous, and it's intriguing. I'm going to watch him. I don't have anything else I'm going to watch, but I'm really interested in it.
Hard hit percentage.
Yeah,
this is alarming.
Yes, it is.
48.2%.
Yes,
that means an exit velocity of better than 95 miles an hour on nearly half of the balls where there's contact made. The good news is, though, again, 1 walk and 21 strikeouts in his last 16.
Very important. Very important against Oakland.
That no hit percentage is pretty important as well. So he's getting a lot of swings and misses. He's a tough guy to figure out right now. If you're looking at those, I don't use the analytics as much as I used to because I think the odds makers started factoring them in a couple of years ago. But Sierra's 3.17, xFIP 3.25. Those are good numbers.
Right in line. Yeah.
Steve, did I get your thoughts on this one already?
Yeah, that's just what Tony brought up was interesting about the walk zone. That makes a lot of sense because, as I said, if you look at the overall batting average versus runs scored and other stats, something's not jiving.
I want to take a pause for 1 second because I want to put up a comment here from Dizzy Rothstein, and it's something that I think we should just touch on for just a minute. He took their online yesterday. It's funny how you guys had no faith in them yesterday but are willing to back them today. The key is to stay one step ahead of the odds makers. Feels like each day you're going off of pitchers, off the previous day, off of lineups and everything. Is there anything else you want to add or comment on? We'll start with you, Dave, on this one.
I don't remember anything about the Nationals game yesterday.
We talked about.
I know the result.
Yeah.
Oh no! Do you have faith in them one night and not the other? It seems like is the question or comment, or anybody for that matter.
Absolutely.
I think that's. I mean, it's funny how you guys had no faith in them yesterday. I didn't say that. They were huge. I think that what I said was, thinking back on it, is
it was pricey.
I didn't want to lay that kind of a price.
Right.
Exactly.
Win the game.
And we also didn't want to get in front of the Orioles, who had won 6 in a row straight up as an underdog. You can't get hurt by passing on a game. And I have a free play on the Nationals, as I said, at wagertalk.com. I've got more analysis there so they can read it. But as I also said, a 15-3 win is not a bad buy sign for a team that has been underperforming, but is still the defending world champs. So, yeah, it's always a day-by-day adjustment for us. But I have no problem backing the team after a 15-3 win when they hadn't been playing well. I'd rather do it that way than the other way around.
All right, so that was our comment, and you can. Oh, Tony, you want to add something?
No, I was going to say, look, absolutely, it's day to day for me. I mean, I may make a comment. This team is horrible, but it's situational. Baseball is situational. Who are they playing? Who's pitching for the other team? Who are they playing? Who's hurt? It's different. Everything's different every single day, and that's why I think all of us are pretty good about forgetting about yesterday.
325 people in here. Don't forget, you can find Dave, Tony, and Steve on wagetalk.com. I'm on sportsmemo.com. Let's keep going. Red Sox and Yankees. I'll call this Paxton made the Shakira adjustment because he had some more separation to his hips. His fastball was up. He looked good last time out going up against Eovaldi. Dave, your Red Sox against the Yankees.
I'd rather disown them. This I do remember saying because I'm going to keep saying it. I will probably not bet the Red Sox in any game this season. I don't think they care. I think they care less than any other team in baseball. Now, the one team they might want to play against is the Yankees. But even that, I just think they're going through the motions. Paxton did look good last time out. Eovaldi's the one guy who kind of had some regard for. He can go out there and pitch well. Maybe they hang in for a game, but there's no chance I bet the Red Sox. And the Yankees lineup won't be quite as potent as it normally is. Want to check the lineup on that game because they are missing a couple of guys. Stanton's back on the DL again, and now Judge is going to miss some time. So not like the Yankees suddenly turn into a bunch of weak hitters, but that's still some big offense out of their lineup.
Tony, any chance to get you on the under in this one then potentially?
No, no. When Evo pitches, I'm typically listen. He has to be just right. He has to have command has to be really good. Got a great arm. Can throw it triple digits if he wants to. But against the Yankees lineup, I'm not going to play the under with Evo. But I would say you're right about one thing is when it comes to the Red Sox, if I'm playing the Red Sox, it's probably an overplay. That's just if the situation's right, that's probably where I'm at.
Yeah.
What'll help the over is that if anybody hits the ball to Devers, he's probably going to muff it anyway. My God, he leads the majors in errors.
Steve, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'll give Dave my Redskins for his Red Sox, but of course I disowned the Redskins 20 years ago, and they technically don't exist anymore anyway.
The football team.
No, I'm fine with the Red Sox, by the way. I as far as I'm concerned, I hope they lose every game and get the number 1 overall pick.
Well, I was going to say the Redskins, they technically don't exist anymore. You're right, Tony, but you can also make an argument they haven't existed for the last 20 years. But I digress. One thing I pointed out yesterday about this Yankee game, and once again it continues to work, is you either play the underdog or you play the Yankees run line. They win by 7 yesterday. They've won every game but 1 now in April by 2 or more. But as Dave said, with some of those offensive players out, it makes me a little more nervous about big wins going forward. But what a difference here. They were minus 170 on the run line yesterday as a $3.50 favorite. They're now plus $1.15. So it's a pretty cheap run line for the Yankees.
Robert, Michael, Hulk, Princess, Brian Watson. Hello, fellas. We had as high as almost 350 people in here. We appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow at noon with First Pitches. We appreciate you guys, and you're the reason why we're doing this. Besides Dave and his Cal Ripken like streak, as to why we're doing this 7 days a week here on our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the like and hit the bell. You'll never miss a show whenever we are on. First 5 under Haven Coors Field. Rockies hosting the Rangers. First Coors Field experience for Kyle Gibson against Marquez, who's been very good. Steve, back to you.
Yeah, Matt, I'll give you credit. You've used the first 5 under several weeks here on this show, and you talk about how some of these games stay under just 1 or 2 runs sometimes, and then they soar over the 12, 13 runs for the game. So you've been spot on. And we've been, Dave's been talking about it too. If you're playing unders, the first 5 makes a lot of sense this year. It takes the bullpen uncertainty out, takes the new extra inning rule out of play. I don't have anything on this game today, but once again, if you like the unders, the first 5s have been working. If you like the overs, the full game has definitely been the better way at Coors Field.
Tony, there's some struggling hitters in this Rockies lineup, but Gibson's getting his first taste of Coors Field.
I pimped Mark. We talked about, I think it was Dave and me. I don't know who it was. I think it was Dave. We talked about Marquise being essentially they consider their ace, and he wasn't very good last time out. And he just wasn't very good last time out. Not that the Rockies have pitched that well anyway, but long story short, yeah. Who knows? I know this much. I stepped in front of the Teddy bus. Remember yesterday we were talking about the Open, not playing this fly ball, and I didn't realize it until this morning. I actually had played the under in that call, under 12.5 with those 2 pitchers. Matt, you talked about that game as well. And then I happened to be checking, and I looked, Teddy had played the over, and that's why he was kind of leaning. Again, there's too many unknowns in this game, but I want to see Marquise pitch. I'll look at some of this game. I like it.
I think Marquez will be fine. Here's the big red flag, and it's a big one on Gibson.
Yeah.
His career hard hit percentage is very respectable, 32.6%. This season, small sample, but this season, 47.9%. That is way off his career. Now, that's a That's one of those red flag stats. Soft contact, by the way, 8.3%. His career is 17%. Those are numbers that they're foreboding numbers. Something bad's going to happen to him, and it could start today. And that's something the Rangers better monitor because, those aren't the numbers he put up with the Twins. He was a guy who was, okay, number 4, back-end starter. But those stats indicate that he could be a guy on the verge of getting completely blown up.
Yeah, and I was doing my Google searching on Kyle Gibson, and I found an article that basically said he's throwing his sinker the most, and it's statistically his worst pitch as opposed to some of the other ones, and he's stubbornly clinging to it. That could be an issue in Coors Field. Padres and Diamondbacks, not a Cy Young matchup. Cal Quantrill against Alex Young. Dave, we'll start with you.
Bullpen. These guys won't be openers, but it's going to be a game where you're going to get bullpens for probably 4 to 5 innings from each team. That might favor the Diamondbacks a little bit. By the way, bad news for the Padres, and we don't know what it is, but Kirby Yates threw to one batter last night and left the game. He got a strikeout, but it was on a pitch that was the batter just got fooled, and he went off the. He just signaled to the dugout, and that was it. So Yates probably heading towards shutdown land, and he hadn't been pitching well, but that is still a big blow to a team that's not exactly strong in the bullpen. That's a big hit for the Padres.
Steve, bullpen versus bullpen. Are you any interest in this one?
Well, if it's definitely bullpen versus bullpen, I have no interest in San Diego. 5.7 on the season, 7.0 on the road. And I lean towards the Diamondbacks as a dog. Yesterday, we talked about how they're due to maybe play a little bit better. San Diego due to cool off. We wondered if that cool off was just because they faced the Dodgers when they lost back-to-back games, but then they only put up 1 run yesterday. So they've scored now 2 runs or less in 4 of their last 5 games overall. I think it's buyer beware at the Padres, especially as a road favorite right now.
Torey Lovullo says that he's hoping to get 85 pitches from Alex Young, yet the most he's thrown is 33. That seems a little ambitious, Tony.
Well, Alex Young pounds. He pounds the zone. And he's been, he lost the number 5 spot to a guy that Dave's high on right now, and that's Kelly. Those are 2 really fighting for the number 5 in this rotation. This Young's been great in the bullpen. And if he continues to pound the zone and get the movement he has, what's he got, a 1.80? He's just been great, and I'm going to watch this because he can move from the long man to a setup guy. So that's a compliment. I think it is in the Arizona bullpen. I'm not sure.
Here's the problem. I think Young is a different pitcher as a starter than he is as a reliever.
Very possible, yeah.
As a reliever, he's throwing harder as a reliever because he's going in short stretches. That's not the case when you're a starting pitcher, and especially since Lovullo says he's going to stretch him out. So he's probably going to be more in that 89 mile an hour range with the fastball, and as opposed to 91, 92 with the fastball coming out of the pen. I'm not sure I like that. I lean to the Diamondbacks here, though, for the same reasons that have already been mentioned as far as this Arizona bullpen is superior.
Close it out here with the Dodgers and the Angels. Walker Buehler getting there. Gave up only 1 hit, 2 earned runs last time out. Andrew Heaney is on my shit list after the way he pitched against Texas. That was a disgraceful effort against the Rangers. Tony, we'll start with you.
No, I'm with you here. Listen, this is apples and oranges. If you the 2 pitches you just mentioned, I'm sorry, apples and oranges. Dodgers are playing really. It's almost like they've settled into we're going to do whatever we want to do. And we're going to do it to you because you're in front of us. And while the price is $100.60, listen, even $1.60, if you want to play this, much like you guys talked about, go run line. Dodgers run line.
Dave?
Buehler is starting to come around, but I'm not prepared to lay this much yet. And the Angels usually give him a battle. These are games, they're big games for the Angels. Heaney, who knows? His stuff is good enough for him to be a number 2, at worst a number 3 pitcher, but he seems to be a guy who, I don't know, mentally there's something missing there. He gets down on himself and he is prone to big innings. This is a team that can put up big innings against him.
Steve, last year we used to fade the Dodgers against lefties. Any interest in that this year?
It's the 3rd straight show where I've gotten Buehler. I love it. I can't resist. Every time you guys lead in, it's just too tempting. He's on the weekend rotation. I'm on the weekend rotation here on first pitch, so it's working out beautiful. But, Tony talked about run line. It almost seems too simple, but I keep saying that every time we do a Dodger game, you either play the underdog outright or you play the Dodgers -1.5. 8 of their 9 wins now in the month of August have been by at least 2 runs or more. They either lose outright or they win by 2 or more. And by the way, you're getting them at plus $1.15 on the run line. You're actually getting them at plus money today. That would be the way I played if you like the LA Dodgers in this one.
So that's the card for today. By the way, Dave, we have a proposal here. If B. Bier makes his fighting debut, he wants you in his corner because you're a baller.
As a trainer or as a partner?
As a tag team partner, what kind of fighting are we talking about?
I don't know, but I'm interested. I want to see it.
I'll take Dave as my tag team partner.
There we go.
I don't think you want me as your tag team partner.
All right, let's close things out here with the DFS studs and sleepers. Since I take Dave's a lot, I'm going to start with Mr. Koken. Who are you looking at pitcher and hitter wise?
Didn't look at much because I didn't know half the guys who were going, to tell you the truth. But I think I would take a shot with, oh, boy. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to pretend I did any research on this. Pass. I didn't look at it. It's Saturdays are rough for me because we go early, and I'm busy with trying to handicap. So rather than just toss a name out there and have anybody follow it, I'll skip it. By the way, do have to unfortunately mention this quickly. New income tax thing as far as daily fantasy sports are concerned, where the providers are going to have to pay taxes on the wagers that are made. They are wagers. You've already got a huge rake. I think this is it's going to get passed along to the consumer. You might be looking at like an 18% rake. I'm going to tell you something. Daily fantasy sports, for me, would be a complete stay away now. If once they raise, I mean, it's a terrible rake to begin with, and now it's going to be even worse than horse racing. God.
Tony, anyone you want to recommend tonight?
I like what Dave just said. First off, the people that the individuals and the groups that dominate the fantasy are playing. They have computer programs. They're playing massive teams, and your chances. An 18% rate's horrible. You know what's even worse? You have very little chance of winning. Play $1 for fun if you want, but Dave's right. Sleepers today. Listen to the deal. I really kind of like I don't know. It's a contrary, but I like that Florida game we talked about. Fried would be the stud, and the rookie, the second start for him would be the sleeper because I like a low scoring game. So it's kind of weird, but in fantasy, you get some points for strikeouts and quality starts, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll play. I can't be wrong, can I? Fried stud, rookie sleeper. I'm done.
Steve?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll look at Shane Bieber. I think the Tigers are due to cool off, as we touched on. He can have a shutdown performance. And then I always lean towards, hitters in those Rockies games at home. And I thought Dave had some interesting numbers on Kyle Gibson, a ticking time bomb. And if that's the case, boy, you could see him exploding the thin air and altitude today. So Rockies hitters should be pretty live.
Yeah, I'll go Spencer Turnbull here. I think he can get some strikeouts tonight and against the Indians. And I'll go with my guy, Charlie Blackmon, 2 straight hitless days. I think he busts out against Kyle Gibson. All right, last time, everybody. We'll start with you, Dave. WagerTalk.com. I know you said you'll be putting stuff up after the show. What can people expect?
Probably 2 hockey games and 1 baseball play. I'll make one of them a free play. One of the hockey plays will be a free play, and you'll be able to buy the other stuff. But there's nothing up yet, so give me 15, 20 minutes.
Tony?
Yeah, I'm with David. I'm going to I have a free play I've been looking at, and I just haven't got the analysis done. I'll put it up in the next 15 or 20 minutes too.
And Steve?
Nothing big.
Yeah, I've got a free play up there right now for baseball. Also, a baseball and NBA basketball best bet for Saturday, 9-2, 82% this week at wagertalk.com.
And I'm on sportsmemo.com, 1 baseball play up, a couple of others for my all-access subscribers. Fellas, folks, we appreciate everybody. Nearly over 300 people at one point today. We will be back tomorrow at noon with First Pitch here on the YouTube channel. Hit the like button, hit the bell, and we will be back tomorrow.
Good luck, everybody.